Snow falls softly under the stadium lights at Texas Stadium, a rare sight unseen in Dallas for 26 years. The date is November 25th, 1993, Thanksgiving Day. The scoreboard shows Cowboys 14, Dolphins 13. 15 seconds remain. A nation watches as Miami lines up for a game-winning field goal. The snap, the kick, blocked. The ball spins on the frozen turf, a harmless piece of leather that should signal victory for Dallas. In those fleeting seconds, Lett, a three-time Pro Bowler and cornerstone of the Cowboys dynasty, makes a decision that would echo through NFL history. This is the story of how two plays in an otherwise stellar NFL career would become his lasting legacy. In the swirling snow of Texas Stadium, history is about to be written, not by his achievements, but by his blunders. In the spring of 1991, at Emporia State University's Pro Day, scouts witnessed something extraordinary. A defensive lineman moved with the agility of a linebacker, but cast a shadow like a mountain. Lett, standing 6 feet 6 inches and weighing 290 pounds, was about to emerge from the obscurity of Division II football into NFL legend. Most NFL teams overlooked the small school prospect. The Dallas Cowboys, however, saw potential in the raw talent from Emporia State. With the 173rd pick in the 7th round, they made a decision that would help shape their dynasty. Jimmy Johnson, known for his keen eye for defensive talent, couldn't contain his excitement after Lett's first training camp. "In 20 years of coaching," Johnson declared, "I've never seen a defensive lineman with such natural gifts." The nickname Big Cat emerged during his first Cowboys training camp. Veterans watched in awe as Lett chased down running backs and manhandled offensive linemen. His rare combination of size and speed left seasoned coaches speechless. Troy Aikman, the Cowboys' star quarterback, recalled those early days. "We knew we had something special. His footwork was unlike anything I'd seen from a man his size." By the end of his rookie training camp, whispers turned to bold predictions. Assistant coaches talked about Lett as a future Pro Bowler. Team scouts who had initially doubted the small school selection now claimed credit for discovering him. The rise of the Big Cat was underway, and the NFL had no idea what was coming. The 1991 season opened with Lett as a backup, but his explosive talent couldn't be contained to the sidelines. By week 6, his dominating practice performances forced Jimmy Johnson's hand. Against the Cincinnati Bengals, Lett recorded his first NFL sack, bulldozing through their offensive line like paper. The rookie from Emporia State had arrived. The Cowboys' defensive line was transforming into something special. Charles Haley, the fiery veteran acquired from San Francisco, took Lett under his wing. Their dynamic was electric. Haley's intensity perfectly complemented Lett's quiet power. Russell Maryland, the team's first-round pick, completed the trio. Together, they formed what opposing quarterbacks would soon call the Triangle of Doom. December 1992 marked the turning point. In a crucial game against the Washington Redskins, Lett stripped the ball from quarterback Mark Rypien on a critical 3rd down. The play sealed the Cowboys' first division title since 1985. The Texas Stadium crowd chanted "Big Cat" as Lett held the recovered football high above his head. The defensive line's reputation grew with each game. Quarterbacks were sacked an astounding 42 times that season, with Lett contributing 7 of his own. In the locker room, Charles Haley would often say, "They see me coming, they run right into Leon. They see Leon coming, they run right into me. Pick your poison." This wasn't just a defensive line anymore. It was becoming the foundation of an NFL dynasty. January 31st, 1993. The Rose Bowl in Pasadena glistened under the California sun as 98,374 fans witnessed what should have been Lett's crowning moment. The Dallas Cowboys were demolishing the Buffalo Bills, the scoreboard already reading 52-17. A game that would be remembered as one of the most lopsided Super Bowls in history was about to become memorable for an entirely different reason. With just over 4 minutes remaining in the 4th quarter, Bills quarterback Frank Reich dropped back to pass. The Cowboys' defense, led by Lett, had been relentless all day. As Reich scanned the field, Ken Norton Jr. crashed through the line, jarring the ball loose. The pigskin bounced onto the sun-baked grass, and there was Lett, all 6 feet 6 inches of him, scooping it up at the 1-yard line. What followed was a moment that would be replayed countless times over the next 3 decades. Lett rumbled down the field, his massive frame eating up yards as the end zone beckoned. At the 45-yard line, he began to pull away from pursuing Bills players. By the 30th, a touchdown seemed certain. This was to be his moment, his exclamation point on a dominant Super Bowl performance. But Don Beebe, Buffalo's wide receiver, hadn't given up. While Lett began his celebration at the 10-yard line, slowing down and holding the ball out with one hand, Beebe was closing the gap. In a flash of white and blue, Beebe knocked the ball from Lett's outstretched arm just inches from the goal line. The ball rolled through the end zone. Touchback, Buffalo's ball. The play itself didn't affect the game's outcome. The Cowboys were still champions, and Lett would still get his ring. But in that moment, a narrative was born. A single act of premature celebration would become the first chapter in a story of infamous mistakes, overshadowing the dominant player Lett truly was. Spring dawned with Leon Lett's Super Bowl gaffe playing on an endless loop across America's sports networks. Sports Illustrated ran a cover story titled, "The Long Run to Nowhere." Late-night comedians found their newest punchline. But within the Cowboys organization, a different story was unfolding. Through the sweltering Texas spring, Lett transformed the weight room into his sanctuary. Cowboys strength coach Mike Wojcik recalled those months. Leon would arrive before sunrise, often the first player in the building. The incident lit a fire under him I'd never seen before. The same hands that had let the Super Bowl ball slip away now gripped iron bars with renewed purpose, setting personal records in every lifting category. Training camp opened in July 1993, and Lett emerged as a man possessed. During the first full contact practice, he burst through the offensive line so explosively that Jimmy Johnson had to pull him aside, not to correct him, but to preserve his starting offensive linemen. By the third preseason game, opposing coaches were double-teaming him on every snap. The league was witnessing the evolution of a dominant force. The regular season's first 8 games showcased Lett's redemption. His statistics told the story: 6 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, and 23 quarterback pressures. Michael Irvin, the Cowboys' outspoken wide receiver, watched the transformation from across the practice field. "Some guys crumble under that kind of pressure," Irvin said. "But Leon? He used it like fuel. Every snap, every play, you could see him rewriting his own story. That's what made him special. He didn't run from the past, he ran through it." As October turned to November, the Cowboys stood atop the NFC East with a 7-1 record, their defense ranked first in the league. Lett had silenced his critics the only way he knew how, through relentless performance. But as Thanksgiving approached, fate was preparing another twist in his tale, one that would test his resilience in ways no one could have predicted. Nature itself seemed to conspire against the Dallas Cowboys that Thanksgiving Day. For the first time since 1967, snow blanketed Texas Stadium. The temperature had plunged to 32 degrees, turning the artificial turf into a treacherous sheet of ice. A sold-out crowd of 64,578 fans huddled in the stands, their breath visible in the frigid air, as they watched their Cowboys lead the Miami Dolphins 14-13 with just seconds remaining. The game had been a defensive masterpiece from Leon Lett. He'd recorded 2 sacks and consistently disrupted Miami's offense. The Cowboys' defense had done everything right, and when Pete Stoyanovich lined up for a 41-yard field goal attempt with 15 seconds left, victory seemed secure. The snap came back, Stoyanovich's foot connected, and Cowboys defensive lineman Jimmy Jones burst through to block the kick. The ball spun harmlessly on the frozen turf, sliding toward the Dallas end zone. NFL rules dictated that once blocked, a field goal becomes a live ball only if touched by the defending team. The Cowboys' sideline erupted in celebration, all except for Lett. Perhaps haunted by his Super Bowl mishap, perhaps driven by the same instinct that made him chase down every play, he charged toward the spinning ball. His 290-pound frame slid across the ice like a runaway freight train. His fingertips grazed the ball, making it live. In the ensuing scramble, Miami recovered at the 1-yard line. The stadium fell silent as officials awarded Miami a second chance. Stoyanovic's subsequent 19-yard field goal sailed through the uprights. Final score: Dolphins 16, Cowboys 14. In the locker room, the temperature seemed to drop even further. Lett sat motionless at his locker, still in full uniform, as teammates and coaches tried to console him. Jimmy Johnson's words echoed through the silence. One play doesn't define a season, and it sure doesn't define a man. But as reporters swarmed the locker room and the headlines began to form, everyone knew this was more than just one play. For Leon Lett, it was a cruel twist of fate. A second infamous moment in less than a year, this time directly costing his team a victory. The snow continued to fall outside Texas Stadium, but inside, an avalanche of scrutiny was just beginning. The winter of 1993 faded into 1994, but the chill of that Thanksgiving Day lingered. Leon Lett faced a challenge far greater than any 300-pound offensive lineman: rebuilding his mental fortitude. The Cowboys organization, recognizing the depth of the situation, connected him with Dr. Robert Andrews, a renowned sports psychologist who had worked with Olympic athletes facing similar high-pressure situations. Dr. Andrews' approach was unconventional for NFL standards at the time. Rather than avoiding discussion of the infamous plays, he encouraged Lett to confront them head-on. They spent hours breaking down the game film, not to analyze technique, but to understand the split-second decision-making process. The goal wasn't to forget, Dr. Andrews would later explain, but to transform those moments from wounds into wisdom. The Cowboys' locker room rallied around their teammate with unprecedented unity. Michael Irvin instituted what he called the Big Cat Rule. Any media member asking about the past incidents would lose access to all player interviews. Charles Haley, known for his fierce demeanor, took on an unexpected role as Lett's daily workout partner. During practice, Haley would intentionally taunt Lett with references to the plays, helping him build immunity to criticism while channeling the emotions into his performance. The transformation became evident in the 1994 season opener against Pittsburgh. Late in the fourth quarter, with the game on the line, Lett faced a nearly identical situation to the Thanksgiving incident: a loose ball on the field. This time, his response was different. He calmly secured the fumble, following every fundamental he had drilled countless times in practice. The Cowboys' sideline erupted. That single play, while not spectacular, symbolized something profound. Leon Lett was no longer a player haunted by his past, but one strengthened by it. His statistics that season told only part of the story: career highs in sacks, tackles, and forced fumbles. The real victory was in his demeanor. The hesitation that had briefly clouded his game disappeared, replaced by a calculated aggression. Team captain Troy Aikman noted the change. "We didn't just get back the old Leon, we got a better one. Someone who learned that in the NFL, it's not about avoiding mistakes, it's about how you respond to them." By 1994, Leon Lett had transformed his narrative from cautionary tale to comeback story. His first Pro Bowl selection that year wasn't just an acknowledgement of his statistics: 75 tackles, 11 sacks, and 4 forced fumbles. It was recognition of his complete dominance on the field. The NFL's elite offensive coordinators now built their game plans around avoiding number 78. Brett Favre, the Packers' star quarterback, experienced Lett's dominance firsthand during their 1995 playoff matchup. "You'd look across the line and see this mountain of a man moving like a safety," Favre recalled. "We'd assign 2 blockers to him, and somehow he'd still get through. It was like trying to stop a force of nature." That game saw Lett record 3 sacks and a crucial fourth-quarter forced fumble, securing the Cowboys' path to another Super Bowl appearance. The 1995 season brought Lett's second Pro Bowl selection and his finest statistical year: 82 tackles, 13 sacks, and a league-leading 6 forced fumbles. But it was in Super Bowl 30 against the Pittsburgh Steelers where Lett truly cemented his redemption. With less than 2 minutes remaining and the Steelers threatening a comeback, Lett burst through the line to sack Neil O'Donnell, sealing the Cowboys' 3rd championship in 4 years. As he stood up from that play, There was no premature celebration, just the focused intensity of a master at his craft. His third straight Pro Bowl selection in 1996 came during a season where opposing teams ran away from his side of the field on 68% of their plays. Dan Marino, after a punishing loss to the Cowboys, put it simply, "The Leon Lett of these years isn't just a great player. He's what every defensive lineman should aspire to be. Complete dominance, snap after snap." The numbers backed up Marino's assessment. During this 3-year peak, Lett's combined statistics, 240 tackles, 34 sacks, 14 forced fumbles, ranked him among the most productive defensive linemen in NFL history. Away from the cameras and the spotlight, Leon Lett quietly built a legacy that few outside the Cowboys' inner circle ever witnessed. In the locker room, his leadership style emerged not through fiery speeches or loud declarations, but through consistent actions and quiet wisdom. Every Monday morning at 6 a.m., young defensive linemen would find Lett already reviewing game film, methodically breaking down each play from the previous day's game. He never mandated their presence, yet they came, drawn by his dedication. The streets of South Dallas knew a different big cat. In 1995, Lett established the Second Chance Foundation, inspired by his own journey through adversity. The foundation focused on mentoring at-risk youth, with Lett personally attending weekly sessions at local high schools. He never publicized these visits, believing that true impact happened away from the media's glare. One student, Marcus Thompson, later became a collegiate defensive lineman himself, crediting Lett's guidance. "He taught us that mistakes don't define you, your response to them does." Within the Cowboys facility, Lett developed a unique mentoring system for rookie defensive linemen. He called it the Film Room Family, a tight-knit group that met every Thursday evening to study technique and share life lessons. Chad Hennings, a young defensive tackle at the time, revealed how Lett would often stay hours after these sessions, working one-on-one with players struggling to grasp the NFL's complexities. Leon understood that mental preparation was just as crucial as physical talent, Hennings explained. He'd seen both sides of fame and made sure we were prepared for either outcome. But this period also brought personal challenges. The constant scrutiny had made Lett intensely private. He declined countless interview requests and sponsorship opportunities, choosing instead to focus on perfecting his craft and helping others. His teammates noticed how he would tense up whenever cameras appeared in the locker room, a lingering effect of his moments under the national microscope. Yet this same sensitivity made him uniquely qualified to guide young players through their own struggles with the NFL's pressures. As Troy Aikman observed, Leon's greatest contribution to the Cowboys wasn't just his play on the field, it was how he helped shape the next generation of players through his experiences, both good and bad. When the numbers tell the story of Leon Lett's career, they paint a picture of excellence: 361 tackles, 57.5 sacks, 37 forced fumbles, 3 Pro Bowls, and 3 Super Bowl rings across his 11 NFL seasons. But his true legacy extends far beyond these statistics, reaching into the very fabric of how the modern NFL defensive line operates. The Cowboys' defensive scheme during their dynasty years became known as the Lett Protocol among NFL insiders. Defensive coordinator Dave Campo built his strategies around Lett's unique abilities, creating a system where the defensive tackle became an offensive weapon. This revolutionary approach influenced defensive schemes across the league. The Green Bay Packers and Tampa Bay Buccaneers would later adopt similar systems, acknowledging Lett's influence on their defensive philosophies. Warren Sapp, who would become one of the NFL's most dominant defensive tackles, studied Lett's game films obsessively during his rookie year. "People remember the mistakes," Sapp said, "but students of the game remember his footwork, his hand placement, his ability to read offensive formations. That's the real Leon Lett legacy." The technique Lett developed for shedding double-team blocks became standard teaching material at NFL combines, known informally as the Big Cat Counter. Perhaps most powerfully, Lett's mishaps became valuable teaching moments for future generations. When rookie Dontari Poe made a similar premature celebration mistake in 2013, his Kansas City Chiefs coaches showed him Lett's Super Bowl play, not to ridicule, but to learn. Lett himself reached out to Poe, sharing insights about handling public scrutiny and turning negative moments into motivation. This pattern repeated itself throughout the years, with Lett becoming an unofficial counselor to players facing similar situations. The NFL's coaching community now regularly cites the Lett principle, the idea that a player's greatest teachable moments often come from their most public mistakes. His journey from infamous blunders to respected mentor reshaped how teams approach player development, emphasizing mental resilience alongside physical skills. As Jimmy Johnson would later reflect, Leon didn't just learn from his mistakes, he taught an entire generation how to learn from theirs. In today's NFL, where every play is instantly dissected by millions on social media, Leon Lett's infamous moments would have unfolded very differently. Aaron Donald, the Los Angeles Rams' defensive superstar, offered a sobering perspective in 2022. In our era, those plays would trend for weeks. But what people miss is that Lett's recovery from those moments, that's what would go viral today. His resilience would be the bigger story. The evolution of NFL celebration rules bears Lett's invisible fingerprints. When the league revised its celebration policies in 2017, the committee specifically studied his Super Bowl play. The Lett rule, though never officially named as such, influenced guidelines about maintaining possession through the entire scoring play. Kansas City Chiefs defensive coordinator Steve Spagnuolo now uses footage of both Lett's plays in his first team meeting every season, not as cautionary tales, but as examples of how split-second decisions shape careers in the NFL's spotlight. Today's players view Lett's story through a unique lens. DeMarcus Lawrence, current Cowboys defensive end, spoke about watching Lett's plays on YouTube when he was drafted. Everyone focuses on those two moments, but then you dig deeper and find this monster career, these incredible stats, 3 Pro Bowls. In the social media era, we'd have seen all of it, the struggles and the triumphs. His whole story would be out there, not just the highlights or lowlights. The 24/7 coverage of modern sports would have captured Lett's extensive charity work, his mentoring of young players, and his technical excellence that current defensive linemen still study. As former NFL coach Tony Dungy noted in 2023, Leon's career serves as a masterclass in professional resilience. In today's NFL, where mental health and player development are finally getting proper attention, his journey from those moments to becoming a respected leader would be celebrated as much as any on-field achievement. After hanging up his cleats in 2001, Leon Lett discovered his true calling in an unexpected place, back on the football field, but this time as a coach. He began at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas in 2009, working quietly as a defensive line assistant. The man who once shied away from cameras found peace in sharing his wealth of knowledge. By 2011, he had returned to Dallas as a defensive assistant, the stadium where his most notorious moments unfolded now becoming his classroom. His relationship with Dallas fans underwent a remarkable transformation over the years. At local sports bars, where his infamous plays once drew groans, Lett became a celebrated figure. The same resilience that helped him overcome his setbacks resonated with the city's blue-collar spirit. During Cowboys alumni events, fans would line up not to mention his mistakes, but to thank him for showing their children how to handle adversity with grace. One fan's handmade sign at a 2018 coaching clinic read, "Thank you, Leon. You taught us how to get back up." In his role as a coach, Lett transformed his career-defining moments into powerful teaching tools. During the Cowboys' rookie symposium, he would often share his story without filters. "I could stand here and just show you highlight reels," he'd tell the young players, "but the real lessons come from the plays that tested my character, not my talent." His annual resilience workshop became a mandatory stop for Dallas draft picks, where he'd break down not just defensive techniques, but the mental aspects of surviving in professional football. When reflecting on his own career in a rare 2020 interview, Lett showed the wisdom gained from decades of perspective. "Those plays didn't define me, they refined me. Every mistake, every headline, every moment of doubt pushed me to be better than I was yesterday." Football gives you defining moments. What matters is whether you let them finish your story or fuel it. Today, in the Cowboys practice facility, a mural of Lett features not his Pro Bowl appearances or Super Bowl victories, but the moment he got up after the Thanksgiving Day play, a testament to the power of resilience over results. Time has a way of reshaping legacies, of bringing clarity to what truly matters. In 2024, as the Cowboys organization reviews candidates for their Ring of Honor, Leon Lett's name generates serious discussion. The statistics speak volumes: 361 tackles, 57.5 sacks, 3 Pro Bowls, and 3 Super Bowl championships. But numbers tell only part of his story. When the selection committee meets, they consider not just the player, but the man who turned moments of public failure into a lifetime of teaching and inspiration. The NFL's historical archives now feature Lett in a chapter titled Resilience and Redemption. His game films are studied not just for his defensive techniques, but for the mental fortitude he displayed throughout his career. In the words of NFL historian John Turney, Lett's career serves as a perfect case study of professional athletics: the highs, the lows, and most importantly, the human element that connects them all. The same plays that once brought ridicule are now used in the NFL's Rookie Symposium as lessons in perseverance. The duality of Lett's legacy presents a unique perspective on professional sports. His career embodies both the pursuit of excellence and the reality of human imperfection. As former teammate Emmitt Smith observed at a 2023 Cowboys reunion, Leon showed us that greatness isn't about avoiding mistakes, it's about how you respond to them. His real achievement wasn't the Pro Bowls or the Super Bowls. It was showing an entire generation of players how to turn setbacks into comebacks. Today, Leon Lett's story resonates beyond the football field. It speaks to anyone who has faced public failure, who has had to rebuild their reputation, who has chosen to get back up when staying down seemed easier. His journey from the frozen field of Texas Stadium to becoming a respected mentor and coach reminds us that our lowest moments need not define us. They can inspire us to reach our highest potential. And so, the story of the Big Cat lives on, not as a cautionary tale, but as a testament to the power of resilience, the importance of redemption, and the enduring spirit of a man who refused to let his mistakes write his final chapter. If this story of resilience and redemption resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring NFL documentaries. Hit that like button if you believe in second chances, and leave a comment sharing your own story of overcoming adversity. Together, we're preserving the rich history of football, one story at a time. Until next time, remember, it's not about the falls, it's about how we rise.